everyone, and welcome back to episode 11 of Cast to Oblivion. I'm one of your hosts, Carter Barton, and I am joined by the one, the only, Big Slick, Zach
Let's
Donahue.
go.
Zach, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Do you feel like a 3 cost plus 5 damage wager a card non-attack action?
I mean, sure. I've never thought of myself as a warrior card, so I guess a 3 cost plus 5 feels right.
I mean, if you went back to playing rugby, like, consistently, and then also grew out a ponytail, I really think that you could get some tats and you could be the guy in this picture, right?
I'll work on it.
Okay, we'll edit it in post. Welcome everyone back to the podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. A little bit of housekeeping at the top before we dive into the main topic. We have a Discord. That means you, yes, you, the viewer I am pointing to on YouTube, and the viewer I am hypothetically pointing to on Spotify, or the listener, I guess. We have a link down in the show notes or in the description below to our Discord channel where you can bother me and Zach and ask us benign questions or ask us great questions that actually become episode topics like the one we have today. So do that.
Yeah.
Special shout out to JT for the suggestion for today's episode. I was already kind of like thinking about this a little bit, but it is good that we had someone ask because that gives me the excuse to push it as a topic. Today we will be covering how to prepare for big events. So this can be something as small as a skirmish or a ProQuest, to as something big as your national event, or a calling or a showdown, or even something like the Pro Tour.
Battleground, yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of things.
Anything like more important than Armory.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think especially because armories are so, I don't want to say they're so casual, but because like they happen at like 6:30 on a Tuesday. Like there's only like you're coming after work, you got other things going on, but like those Saturday days, those big events, those things like that where there's something on the line, whether that be a Pro Tour invite with a ProQuest or if that's like, opportunity to day two of calling. Like those things matter a little bit more to certain players, and we can talk about that as we go in. But couple housekeeping before we get in there. Also, Carter, are you playing Flesh Blood this week?
Yes, our weeks in Fab. I had a blast this week, Zach. You know why? You know why I had a blast? I got to play with Mastery Pack Warrior this week. So you obviously got to play with it last week at Gen Con, kind of before everyone else, which is super cool. I really enjoyed the format. Holy cow, this is such a
I told you.
Brilliant improvement compared to Mastery Pack Guardian. And if the third Mastery Pack that we have been confirmed but do not know the class that we're getting for, if it's any good, or like any level of good compared to Mastery Pack Warrior, I'm excited automatically. Yeah. So it is as simple as having 3 characters to choose from immediately makes the format infinitely better.
And I think also too having Wager go again sharpen / flurry support is enough for the format too, to be like, hey, I can identify how I want to play. And then granted you only get 30 cards, but then you can kind of focus, be like, hey, I know I'm playing Olympia. I know I'm playing my 12, let's say you have 12, 14 wager cards. Like that gives you an identity of like what you're trying to play into and to find that continued success in that regard, which I think, again, makes an enjoyable format. Like, again, having 3 heroes, having different play styles all woven together is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I think the cool part about this format too is just how much pitch stacking is very important. So unless you like straight up either die or kill your opponent via attack reactions just over the top, this format 100% goes to second cycle.
Yeah.
And the importance of it is quite nice. I think it is a very good skill test for new and experienced players. So, like I had a game today that I barely was able to eke out. It was a Holomir, and I noticed that my opponent had pitched 2 of the blue block cards that says they can't attack with a sword a second time.
Yep.
And I ended up pitching a red Edict of Steel between his pitch deck of those 2 cards. And late game, I was able to have a 2-card hand where I went 4 into 4, and I was able to like threaten 3 cards out of him, in between the 2 cards that would have screwed my play.
Yeah.
So that felt really good. This
Yeah.
format
I
it's
think,
great.
yeah.
It has a high ceiling.
And I think one of the fun things about the format is like that initial block decision that you make is like, okay, how much reactions do they have coming out here? Like they're just sending one sword, doesn't have go again, doesn't have a flurry token, doesn't have blade down, something else going on that. Um, they're only sending that. What's the reactions that they're pushing me to? Like what's the damage they can leak through here if I don't overblock, if I do overblock? Like you have to make some of those decisions pretty early on in that blocking process. I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna block 6 here, even if they're coming in just for 4. In the case that like, hey, maybe they go up to 8, they leak 2, but whatever. Or maybe they you overblock and they go, cool, it's not worth it. They arsenal a card. There's a lot of mind games and back and forth there that determine a lot of things that are pretty interesting, pretty fun.
Yeah, I think my one, maybe it's a cold take about the format. Time Snap Potion and Energy Potion as reprints in this format are maybe the funniest thing I've seen in a while. They feel a little bit out of place, but I'm not mad. I think they're good reprints. Like, you need to put them
Yeah,
somewhere.
agreed.
And if you have the extra action point from like giving your Zenith Blade go again, but you don't have the flurry token, it's a fine play.
Yeah.
If you have
Well,
a
there's also
yeah
I think it's Blessing or like the one that gives the +3 start of turn. Like you have something
yeah
with go again, you play that, and then you're like, hey, I'm gonna have +3 on my first sword. Like
yeah
just swing the sword sometimes. And it allows you to block out, mitigate damage, do things like that. So there's some really interesting, fun play lines that come out. I would love to see this format um in skirmish season,
yeah.
if
I
I'm being
would
honest.
too.
But
Unfortunately, we're not
yeah.
gonna get it.
Yeah,
Um,
different point.
but
Different
that's
point.
fine. So, how about you? Did you play any Flesh and Blood this week?
I just had one armory that I played in, my
CC
Tuesday
or
armory. PC, yeah.
nice?
So, doing Gun and Flash Cilio things. Just kind of I'm expecting him to LL sooner rather than later. He's gonna start to hit the multiplier in September,
Mm,
and then we go into ProQuest season. My ProQuest that I'm gonna be able to play from a CC ProQuest is gonna be end of ProQuest season.
okay.
So like I need to know like one, I'm like, okay, cool. There's a chance that he lasts till that final week. Knowing what I want to play and being comfortable on that, cool. Feels really good. Also knowing like what's my pivot plan, because I might only have 5 to 7 days to pivot and get ready to go. And that's kind of one of the things we're going to talk about with this topic, about like, hey, how are you preparing for an event? Doing little things like that as well. So like for me,
That
I'm just like,
is
okay, there's a couple decks that I'm just like, cool, potentially, maybe that's what I'll bring. I'm really hoping the Cilio is alive for that last week so I get one last shot, but we'll see how it goes.
that is an excellent pivot into our main topic, Zach. That is an excellent first thing to talk about. So,
Yeah. So before we get into this, we have 3 kind of pillars that we're going to be talking about here: researching the event, preparing for the event, and then the day of the event. So whether that is skirmish, like Carter talked about earlier, or a pro tour or world championship level event, same principles are going to apply to that as we go. So first bucket is going to be that researching the event. So Carter, you want to take it away?
yeah, absolutely. So, some of this information might just be like blatantly obvious, but it's still good to mention it for both new and experienced players. First thing you should really ask yourself when you're intending to go to an event: where and when? It's not rocket science. You can Google it. Usually there's an FAQ page on the Fab TCG website of some sort, or the event host has a website that answers questions. It's important to know how much time you have to prepare for the event, as well as when you actually need to be at the event so you don't waste all your preparation and miss it. That's enough said. That's not crazy to say. As such, the next question is, what format is it? Don't bring a CC deck to a Sage event. Don't bring your CC deck to a Sunday Silver Age Showdown. It has Silver Age in the name. You're smarter than this. I believe in you. You can go out and buy your Briar Precon if you really want
Probably
to.
just fine.
Yeah. But point being said is obviously you need to clarify like what you are intending to play in, when you're intending to play in it. That answers a lot of questions on itself. Leading into our pivot, if you're playing a format such as Classic Constructed or a format such as Silver Age, you need to ask yourself if there's going to be any potential shakeups in between now and then. So, a couple months ago, let's say you're a Victor player and you have national season coming up. Most likely, you had a second deck that you were preparing to play if Victor hit Living Legend sooner rather than later in the season.
Yeah.
In Zach's instance, this is our upcoming ProQuest season in October. Zach wants to play Acilio. Unfortunately, you're week 3 or 4
I'm the
of the
last
season.
week, whatever that. I'm not sure how I think it's like a 5-week season.
Sure.
I think the first 2 are sealed, and then the last 3 are CC. So like,
Yeah.
however that works out. I'm the last.
Seal their draft or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, point being, if Zach wants to play Acilio, numero uno, for this upcoming season, he also has to be aware that that deck might not be available the day of.
Yeah.
So, usually it is a smart idea to choose a deck that is close to Living Legend because that means it's probably powerful, but far enough away where you're not putting a ton of prep time on a deck that's probably going to hit Living Legend in a week or 2.
Yep.
So, I hate to break it to you, things change. The Living Legend system is arguably one of the reasons a lot of players play this game competitively, because it's just a great way for the company to make the game fresh without having to like do huge ban waves of cards every now and again like Magic. So
yeah.
And then the final question you really should ask when you are researching your event is, do I have a deck that that I'm comfortable on? So in Zach's case, Acilio 1. You've been playing this deck for ever since it came out.
Yep.
You have played a bunch of different lists. You have tweaked your sideboard. You understand what you want to draw into certain matchups and what you don't want to draw. And as a result, you have found a comfort deck. Most of the time, I would play a comfort deck over a deck I'm not experienced on.
Yeah.
If you have enough time between then and the tournament, yeah, you can pick up a meta deck and get comfortable on it. But the day of the event, you shouldn't be like, oh, I'm just going to play Marionette. I've never played the deck before. Surely this will, go well. And for some people, it does. Some people are just that good. Like the
Well, I think that
Brody Spurlocks or whatever the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that higher that I'm going to call them the upper echelon of players, they're usually able to tap into a teammate or somebody that they know and be like, hey, what's my micro game plan into specific heroes? What's my overarching macro game plan into what this deck wants to do, game over game, opponent over opponent? And then they can put together the things and they can find success. Again, me and you, we play, 2-3 armories a week if we're lucky. We talk to each other a lot about this game. We talk with, our friends, things like that, but we don't have the opportunity to do that full-time testing, the full-time ability to kind of maybe get all the decks we want together in that regard. So again, like you said, having that comfort pick or having a batch of heroes that you're like, hey, I can play these and I can feel comfortable on them is a good thing. I've talked about this before. I think if Acilio was closer to LLing, I would be preparing for a different deck at the moment. I would be actually preparing Acilio 2.
Yep.
Which is a pretty bold claim because there's some struggles with that deck, the lightning flow generation, bunch of other things going on in that regard. One, he could be getting support and usurp the Shadow Throne. Don't know. But also, 2, probably the more important thing here is like I'm expecting when Acilio goes, the aggro decks that are also at the top of the meta are going to go with him. Kasai's going to go, other things like that, and the meta maybe slows down to this more mid-range control style, which I think new Acilio can really prey onto. So again, playing into like my knowledge of heroes, play styles, things like that, and being able to use that successfully. So again, there's this balance in that regard. If you're somebody who's like, hey, I just want to play a combo deck or XYZ, it's like there's a deck out there for you. You can find the success, but it might not be the meta pick or the comfort pick that we're kind of talking about here.
Yep. One thing you should often remind yourself is that the meta decks are the meta for the reason. They have better numbers, they're more consistent, they're easier to pilot a lot of the time, There's nothing wrong with that kind of stuff. I'm not saying like Gravy Bones is easy to pilot, right? Like that's not really a hot take to say. It's a tough deck, but like stuff like Syndra, a little
Yep.
bit more straightforward, has good numbers, consistently deals damage, has a way to end the game through Flick Knives. That's probably a better pick to bring if you are comfortable in the deck than something like I would have said Olympia, but that deck has like gotten a lot better, and I can't really joke about it anymore. So maybe I say like
Hey, I know an Olympia player that
Tough
has
Nut.
2 different versions of Olympia. Yeah, Tough Nut
I don't
seems fair in
know.
that regard.
We're getting to the point where any deck that I can name and say, oh, it's not that great. It's probably top something at this point. Tough Nut just topped something like the other week. So
Yeah.
yeah. The point being is if you're comfortable enough on a deck and you understand your matchups, there is absolutely no reason that you can't day two something like a calling. Um, However, you might have to work a lot harder to do so. So
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a reason, like you said, there's a reason those top end decks are the decks that continually to be performing top. We've talked about before sometimes the power level of that hero is higher than the other heroes available to us. It happens, but sometimes there are other things that happen and occur. What it may be for you to be like, hey, I'm going to take Tough Nut or whatever it is, predicting the meta, being like, hey, I think Tough Nut's going to do really well if there's all these certain types of decks available, or Jarl's going to be really good, XYZ, things like that. So just understanding those things about the event, what you're going into, is really good. And then once you kind of have all that information figured out, you've done that research about, hey, when the event is, potential LLing of heroes, what the meta could be, what you're going to be comfortable playing. Like you got to make the decision and be like, hey, I'm going to play this hero. You
Yep.
lock in that hero and you say, okay, I'm going to start testing, training, however you want to describe that process, getting reps in on that deck, play against friends, bringing it to armories, playing on Talishar, other things like that to make sure that, when you sit down, round 1, 9 a.m. of that calling, you're like, hey, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So that kind of brings us to our second pillar of this episode, which is actually preparing for the event. You've researched the event, you understand what to expect, you understand where you need to be and when it is, and now you need to put in the time between then and now to start preparing. So, like Zach said, like decide on a deck, preferably sooner rather than later. It will be infinitely more uh, easy to
Beneficial.
you or beneficial to you as the player to decide sooner. It gives you more time to play. It gives you more time to get comfortable in the deck. It gives you more time to sideboard and test matchups that maybe you haven't played yet. You understand play patterns more, and I'd also argue that it just kind of like eliminates stress. Because if you're just like kind of like biting your nails heading into like the final week before like a pro tour, and you don't know what to play, you've probably like lost some sleep in the last 2 to 3 weeks, and no one really wants
Probably.
that. It's a card game. I pray that it's not that serious to you that you're like losing sleep over it. You get to have fun.
Yeah.
And I say this as someone who's not on like the pro tour gravy train by any means. These people do it for a living. Um, in some instances. So in their case, yeah, it's probably different. But to the everyday person who is just like, oh, cool, I can travel to Kansas City coming up in August and play in a calling. I'm pretty casual about the game. This will be like my first big tournament or whatever. Like for those people, have fun with it. Decide on your deck
Yeah.
sooner. Start getting reps in. Like Zach said, like the more games you play on the deck, the better time you are going to have at 9 a.m. sharp on Saturday when the calling round 1 gets paired. Knowing what your sideboard is, knowing what cards to bring in and what cards to take out into certain heroes is something that you really should prepare through testing. And with the new like rules, it's not really new. Rules of the game, like you are perfectly within your right to have an electronic deck list that has your matchups written down as long as your opponent can like inquire to see your screen or whatever during deck preparation for an event. So if I have my deck list up on February, right? Like it's on my mobile phone. I
Yeah.
I should not be texting a buddy to go, hey, I just got paired into Joe Schmo. I know you played into
Yeah.
him last round.
Yes.
What's he on? Your opponent is within their right to go, hey, you are looking at a deck list, right? And you go, yes. So,
Yeah.
so whether it is pen and paper or Fabry like matchup
Yeah.
list,
Yeah, I remember
it's a good
I
thing to
think
have.
this was ProQuest season 1, so a long time ago. I think you were playing during ProQuest season 1, right, Carter? It was Everfest time frame.
You know what? Maybe.
Yeah, but I remember we didn't have electronic deck lists. So I remember I wrote down on a piece of paper like matchups I was expecting, and then kind of like my sideboard notes, and I shoved them into my dice tray, into my deck box. And before games, I would pull that out and like, oh, I'm playing Chain. It's gonna be more of an aggro matchup. I'm on Prism at the time, so like, what am I gonna do to allow myself to find my game plan or things like that. I was not nearly good enough at the game
Sure.
to understand actually what I was doing. I think we've grown a lot with like the way that we produce content and talk about this game and things like that in that regard with how we prepare sideboards, think about sideboards, matchups, things like that. Now I kind of have when I make sideboards, I do two different type of sideboards. I have the hero profile, for
Mm-hmm.
lack of a better term. So like if I'm playing Syndra, Syndra's an aggro deck. So I'm gonna have an aggro sideboard plan, and then I might have specific things for Syndra that come in and out based on that matchup. So
Sure.
little things like that. Again, my sideboarding's evolved, the game has evolved, things like that. But like understanding those little things, like have your approach to it and be confident with it. That's the biggest thing with sideboarding and understanding our matchups is we just talked about it. Like if you get your reps in on your deck and you feel comfortable and confident with it, you will find success. You will be able to day to an event, maybe top 8 an RTN or a ProQuest or something like that. And that's what success looks like for you, and that's a good thing.
Yep. Yeah, I know people who have a specific sideboard plan for every hero. That might be a bit much.
Yeah.
But if you're going to a calling right now, I'd argue that you should have a sideboard plan into Acilio, Syndra, and Marionette. Maybe Jarl,
And then maybe
maybe
Jarl,
Vincent, whatever.
Volda.
Point being,
Yeah.
the select 5 to 10 decks that you expect to see, you probably want to have a comfortable plan going into those games.
Yeah.
Um, with all of this testing, Zach, one thing that gets really, really bent out of shape really, really fast heading into an event?
Your sleeves.
Sleeves. Resleeve the week of, maybe
Yeah.
even the day of, or the night before. Uh, do yourself a favor. Don't get a judge called on you for having marked cards on accident. Uh, and if you're marking your cards on purpose, don't do that.
Go get help.
Yeah, go do something else. It's a card game. Um, Needless to say, do yourself a favor. Put yourself in as positive as a position at 9 a.m. the day of the event as you humanly can. Uh, Sleeves get worn out over time and overuse, and unfortunately, it costs some money. It's annoying, especially like really really new sleeves. Day of the event, if your sleeves are like super new and they just slide around, yeah, it's annoying, but it's better than getting a judge called on you and then getting like a warning or a match loss on
Yeah.
accident for something that it was just like within your control to avoid. So,
Yeah. And
um,
if you're someone that likes a specific sleeve, buy 3 or 4 packs of that sleeve, and then like you have it ready to go. I know when I'm going to a big event like a calling, I'm gonna have that pack of sleeves ready to go. So if a judge is like, "Hey, that one's ripped or whatever, like you need to resleeve," I'm like, "Cool, not an issue. I have the sleeves here," and I will actually show the judge me resleeving it if I have to. That's never come up for me, but that would be something that I
yeah.
would do just for to have that visual comfort, for the lack of a better term.
Also,
And
ensure
yeah,
that the sleeves that you're replacing are from the same box as the rest of the sleeves, and those sleeves are like within a time frame of you having sleeved the deck. So, like, if I sleeved my deck 3 months ago and I've started getting the riffles on top of my card sleeve,
yeah,
and I have sleeves from that color or that box to the side, those are new sleeves. So anything I re-sleeve is going to not be riffled and therefore
yeah,
technically be a marked card. Obviously tough to see if your deck's like pointed away from you. But point being is like your card sleeves should all be relatively
Uniform.
timely
Yeah.
re-sleeved together and uniform. So
Yeah.
it's a big thing, you
Yeah.
know.
But also with sleeves comes deck box and then all materials. So make sure you know what playmat you're running. I mean, I know that's a simple thing, but like, if you're playing a Cilio and you want to like, do some psychic damage on your opponent, maybe have a playmat that indicates you're on oops all arcane when you're actually on an aggro go again 0 for 4 slop deck. Maybe do that. Or maybe your best friend gave you a playmat and you like that playmat even though it's completely not related to the hero you're playing. That could be a thing. Have your dice. Make sure you have multiple ways to track your life, whether that be pen and paper, notebook, journal, whatever it may be, so you can have that pen and paper available to you. Make sure you have all the tokens you need for your deck. Like we said, extra sleeves, and then empty your deck box out of any additional excess cards that aren't related to your hero or anything else of the like in that regard. Something that I do, I use I forget which one it is. It's the Ultimate Guard. It has two
Yeah,
um, areas.
the
I put
tower.
my main, yeah, the tower. I put my main deck, my core 50 whatever cards it is in one, and then I put my sideboard and all my equipment and other stuff in the other one. I keep that stuff separated. Those are the only cards I have in that deck box. So,
Yep.
if there's a judge check, I can just give them like, hey, here's all this stuff. Go crazy. Um, all my tokens, things like that as well. So it's like it's all one place. I don't have to scramble for other things in that regard. Some of my other decks that maybe aren't as double sleeved or doesn't need as many tokens, equipments, whatever it may be, I can fit into smaller deck boxes if I need it. But like understanding, like, hey, have that procedure in place for yourself is going to be help you with be successful.
Yeah. And emphasis on having proper tokens too. It's just one less thing to stress about the day of. If you play even bigger than that and you don't have a quicken token for your opponent, I believe a judge would just issue you a proxy of the quicken token. I don't think it would be too much like skin off your back per se. The issue though is that it's just more stress. It's
Yep.
unnecessary. You can avoid it. So ensure that you have the right tokens. Ensure that you have your hero card. That's a big one. Obviously, like that's 99% of the time never going to be an issue. Hopefully, but like that's a big thing that you should always have. And then also just like when you are preparing for the tournament, ensure that your online deck that you will be submitting for it is the exact same thing that you have in paper.
Yep.
Don't get a warning or an IP penalty because you have submitted an incorrect deck list or
Yep.
are playing with an incorrect deck list. Again, like avoid as much stress as possible. It's good. It's good for you. It's good for the judges. It's good for
Yep.
your opponents. So
Yeah. And then with that too, if you're going to a calling or an event that has side events or other additional formats available, feel free to bring different decks, whatever else you may need for that, because there's a chance you don't day two, or you're playing the event. You're like, hey, I'm just not on it today. Drop, go play side events, have fun, do whatever else you gotta do. If you just have one deck, you're like, hey, I'm just gonna play the calling and that doesn't go well for you, you're gonna have like your weekend's gonna be worse because you're like, hey, I can't engage with the rest of the game, things like that. Maybe there's times when you're just like, hey, it's just not my weekend. That's okay. Um, but if you're going to a calling level event, you're trying to do those type of things. Like it's good to have like backup plans ready to go as well.
yeah, I know one of my favorite things to do whenever I'm heading to Flesh and Blood weekend is I will literally write out my itinerary.
Yep.
Um, Usually that involves some form of all right. Friday I'm gonna play side events. Saturday I'm gonna play the calling. Sunday I'm hopefully gonna calling day two. If I'm not, here's the side events I'm playing. And then you just
Yep.
ensure that you're bringing everything that you need to play as much Flesh and Blood as you humanly can in the weekend that you are presumably looking forward to.
Yep.
So
And I will say this also applies. Like if you're someone who's like, let's say you're going to calling Atlanta, like, hey, I'm not playing the main event. I'm not playing the calling. I want to play side events. Like prepare for those side events. Like write out, be like, hey, there's a 9 a.m. CC double prize XYZ that I want to do. Like get yourself like prepared, have that deck ready. You're gonna be like, hey, I want to play this deck for it, and like go into it. You know what you're gonna play rather than trying to chase those side events. I've been at events where I was like, okay, cool. I think I did this for I did this a lot better for Gen Con, but because it was a smaller event, it was a little more contained. But for Nats this past year, I knew the side events I was going after, what I was trying to play, things like that. And it made my weekend really easy rather than me being like, hey, I might do this, I might not do this, like check in with a couple people, XYZ. It's just like it made my event planning so much smoother and it allowed things like us grabbing dinner,
Hmm.
others things like that fall into place a lot more, especially if you're going to an event where you're traveling, you get to hang with friends and whatnot.
The worst thing that you can do heading to these events and these weekends is rely on your future self to make more decisions than they have to.
Yeah.
Uh, that kind of leads us into our third pillar, which is day of the event. And I'm going to emphasize this one because I think this is a super important point that I don't think a lot of people think of.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of go over this briefly and then we can go in this in more depth. But if you have personal habits on a day to day basis, make sure you keep up with those habits. And the reason I'm saying this very specifically is because it's going to be different for a lot of people. For instance, let's just say you are a person who eats a large breakfast every morning, every day of the week, including the days you go to Armory on a weekly basis. If you're going to go to a calling and participate in the calling, the last thing you want to do is change up your daily rituals, your day to
Especially an
day
eating habit
events,
like
right?
that.
Yeah, and eating's a big one, right? Like, if you intermittent fast on a daily basis and you decide to have like a bacon and some eggs the morning of a calling, that's probably not a great idea.
Yeah.
Um, the last thing you want to do is cause yourself unnecessary stress and unnecessary anxiety during a tournament that's already like, hey,
Stressful.
if you're playing at a competitive REL or what's the step above it,
Professional.
professional, right? Like professional rules enforcement. The last thing you want to do is have like an upset stomach. The last thing you want to do is, oh crap, like I didn't drink enough water this morning, or maybe I didn't take my meds. Um, those aren't great things to do on like a regular basis when you're not playing at a competitive card game tournament, and they're not great especially when you are playing at a competitive card game tournament. So, whatever you can do to ensure that your day-to-day rituals stay the same, you will pat yourself on the back and give yourself a hug so many times over,
Yeah.
with this kind of stuff, right? Like, for instance, for myself, I usually do not eat on uh, competitive weekends until later. The times that I have played in a calling or a showdown, um, even a battle harden back when those were a thing, and accidentally had something for breakfast I really shouldn't have, and like midway through round three, I didn't feel very good. It was like once or twice, and then I immediately kind of put a stop to doing that.
Yeah.
You learn quick.
Yeah. I
What?
think that's it's important to like understand like, hey, we can talk about sleep as its own special thing. Like, hey, if you're someone that goes to bed at 2 a.m. and you wake up at 7 a.m. and you function just fine, cool, fine. Stay with that. Don't try to force yourself to go to bed early to wake up at a time. Like, you're going to be chasing something in a wrong direction. We can talk about sleep as its own thing. Um, Different point entirely, but also understand like what are things that you do that you can prioritize that is going to make your day better, to make you feel better, to make sure you find success. If you're someone that likes to run, go on like a mile run before, like, hey, if you can wake up early enough, get that run in, find success, be loose, cool, go for that. If you're like, hey, I don't run, like that's fine. I'm not telling you to go run on a
Mm-hmm.
calling day, but like make sure you have those little habits that are part of your personal life. It's going to help out a little bit. It's going to take a little stress off. It's going to give you something that feels normal in that regard. And then with that too, like Carter said, not eating a lot during, competitive days. Usually for me, I'll have a small something, especially for like a ProQuest RTN, because those usually start a little bit later. So I'll
Sure.
have a small something and then I'll have snacks with me on the event. So also understand like, hey, what is your snack plan? You're not going to get an opportunity to go grab food between rounds. There's just too many rounds and not enough time. Even if you're playing a deck that you can get games done 20, 25 minutes, it's just not worth it to go chase and find food and then try to play a game while you're digesting food. It's just not beneficial. So making sure you have snacks that are going to be able to keep your blood sugar where you want it, stay hydrated, other little things like that as well. But also, if you don't have that, maybe just have a buddy who can help you get that stuff as needed. Who's someone who's playing side events, things like that. I think a couple years ago, we had kind of a plan ready to go for me to
Mhm.
get you snacks for certain things, depending on where you advance and how you were feeling and things like that. And
Yeah.
just like having that like in the back pocket, again, it takes stress off of it takes mental load off.
Yeah.
We can talk about the whole mental side of Fab. I did a whole video on it way back in January. Like I specialize in mental side of sports. It's the same type of thing with how we process and attack as a sport in a way, which is flesh and blood, playing that at a competitive level.
Mhm. Essentially, everything that you possibly can do as the player to lessen the number of non-game decisions on game day is a good thing.
Yep.
So a lot of like, and I hate to quote these people because I'm just not a huge fan of like the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, but like Mark Zuckerberg has went on record to say that he wears like the same thing
Yep.
every day because it's one less decision that he has to use computing power to do.
Yep.
On the day of a calling, have a plan for where you're going to go to breakfast if you're going to eat breakfast.
Yep.
Have a plan for how much water you're going to need throughout 8 rounds of competitive CC play. Ensure that you have as few stressful situations and anxiety inducing situations as possible to ensure that you have enough computing power for your 8 games in a row. They're not
Yep.
easy, man. Like, 8 games in a row, especially if you're on like a run, or maybe like you're back to the wall. Maybe you're like 0-2 to start the day and you need to like win out to make day 2.
Yep.
The last thing you want to do is be like, "Oh crap, I forgot water." Easy way to ruin your day, right? So,
Yeah, I think with that
yeah.
too, like also like for me, I wear like the same 3 or 4 shirts ready. Like those are like shirts I wear to events. Easy. They're comfortable. I know what they feel like. Easy to go. Awesome. Don't have to think about it. Like one less thing. Like what am I gonna wear to this pro quest? I'm like I don't know. I'm gonna wear the same thing I always wear. And if it's a cold day, I'm gonna have my sweatshirt ready to go. Like
Yep.
and take the burden off. Like it primes our nervous system. It gets ourselves in that comfort state. There's so much more other physiology things going on to that can help you find success. You
Yeah.
already have the reps on the deck. So in the back of your mind already knows like, hey, you drop your 4 cards, you can look at them, you can analyze them, you can make the best decision. You're not having to look at your 4 cards, analyze them, and also be like, oh, why am I cold?
Yeah.
Take that decision now. Be like, hey, I'm not going to be cold because I'm going to be in a comfortable spot. Venue, I know this venue runs cold, XYZ, whatever it may be to do those type of things. But also like, you get to play flesh and blood with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrate that. Put yourself in that good mindset. Put yourself in that positive mindset that you're in this position to do something that you enjoy and love.
Yeah.
Dive in it.
And that's like our biggest, like, this is our climactic point for a day of the event. Be thankful that you get to play a great game with great people. I love Flesh and Blood. Zach, do you love Flesh and Blood?
Oh yeah,
Do you love the friends you've met through Flesh and Blood? Because I do.
I do. Yeah, it's a great group.
And that is like the thing you should consistently remind yourself today of, because it will help you put your mindset in the right place to compete, whether you're doing great and you're on like a 7-0 run, or whether you bomb out 0-3.
Yeah.
Um, be
And then
thank
if you're like me, and then you're playing your pro quest, your RTN, you'd be like, hey, Carter, guess what I did? I'm gonna lose my win in every time, but we're gonna laugh about it. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna come back to it the next time.
Carter, I played against 2 Azaleas in a row. They were the only 2 in the room. I was on Acilio. I got hit by Red and Ledger 3 times. I had a great time. I've had that exact text chain from you like at least twice.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
Point
Long
being,
live
right? Like,
Azalea, maybe.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fun game. The entire motto for the game is play the game, see the world.
Yeah.
And their design philosophy is bringing people together through the language of great games. You get to go travel the world. Uh, Maybe traveling the world is your local pro quest.
Yeah.
But like, for some people, traveling the world is getting to go to a world premiere. Some people, traveling the world is getting to go to the world championship, or maybe your country's nationals event.
Yeah.
probably in the other order, but you get the point. Have fun wherever the heck you go. And it's cliche to say, so we're not saying have fun. Have fun is, I think, something that
Be
happens,
grateful.
yeah, as a result of being grateful for where you are.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that's kind of preparing for big events, call-ins all the way down to a skirmish level event. All of it, it's the same thread throughout, but if you guys have questions about this stuff, we'd love to talk about this.
Yeah.
We've prepared for a bunch of events. We've helped a lot of people prepare for big events, getting that confidence ready to go, a bunch of other things in between. We've done a lot of testing with each other or just like theory craft. I do a lot more theory crafting. I don't play a lot of Talishar. I'm not sure necessarily about you, Carter, but again,
I'm
it's
not
one
a
of those
Talishar
things
guy.
that like it helps for me for the preparing of the event. I'm like, hey, I'm expecting these type of things. These are the cards I'm bringing in. Is this a terrible idea? Is this a good idea? Or is there something that's going to fill this role better? And having that conversation is sometimes better than just playing and jamming games, especially if it's a deck you're comfortable with. I've tweaked in the Cilio deck. I don't know how many times at this point, but again, I found comfort with it. And again, I get a couple more weeks, ride them off into the sunset, hopefully, one more time.
On that note, as a reminder, we have a Discord server. The link is down below, either in the show notes on Spotify or in the description on YouTube. Feel free to join that, chat with Zach and I, as well as any of our community members. We are all happy to talk Flesh and Blood because we're all nerds and we all enjoy it. If you have any questions regarding how to prepare for your large event or maybe like your first skirmish even, we're absolutely happy to help and answer anything, share our own experiences, etc. We've been playing this game a while and we have a lot of great stories to tell. And as a result, obviously we love doing this podcast, so hopefully we get the chance to keep sharing those stories. If you guys want to see more of this channel, you can either subscribe here on Revel and Wraith or on Zach's channel,
Sigil of Something. So this is going to come out on Monday, and then I'm going to have a video come out on Tuesday going over, if you're a new player, specifically going from Sage to CC and understanding some Thab specific terminology and other things that probably will come up in your gameplay experience. And if, getting a leg up on that and understanding those things before you dive head deep into CC, kind of helping you in that regard as well.
Sweet. Yeah, go check out Zach's video if this is past Monday.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, click that subscribe button, like the video, comment with any questions or concerns or criticism or whatever. We're happy to have it all. Otherwise, you can like follow the podcast on Spotify, and I think you can like the episode even. I upload it there because it's ease of access for some people, which is great.
Yep.
I would do Apple Podcasts or whatever. I don't have an account, and I think you actually have to have an Apple account in order to upload on there. So maybe we do that in the future. But if you guys want to see that, ping us in the Discord. I'll try and figure it out at that point. Without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching episode 11 of Cast to Oblivion. I'm one of your hosts, Carter Barton, joined by...
I'm Zach.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week for episode 12. Bye-bye.
Bye.